And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Nguyen versus Guerra, step forward, please.
20-year-old student Tawny Nguyen is suing her former landlord, speech teacher Sylvia Guerra, for the return of her $450 deposit and for the value of stolen property. Sylvia's countersuing for the remainder of the lease.
Ms. Nguyen, you're a university student?
Yes.
And according to your complaint, you rented a room from the defendant?
Yes.
And she rents rooms to several students?
Yes.
And it is your claim that she wrongfully evicted you from
Yes.
the room, that she should pay for that wrongful eviction,
Yes.
a whole bunch of expenses. In addition, it's because of her negligence that some property of yours was stolen out of the house. You wanted to pay for that. And you wanted her to pay for the return of your security deposit.
Yes.
Ms. Guerra says that she tried to be nothing but nice to you, that nothing of yours was stolen from the house. As a matter of fact, because of your negligence, property was taken from the rest of the house. She believes you should be responsible for that. And in addition, she is suing for the remainder of the rent that you owe her under your lease. So she's counterclaiming. When did you sign a lease for the room?
January 28th, 2004.
Can I see the lease, please?
Yes.
When did you move out?
I moved out on March 7th. The problem was she had made the 10 o'clock rule that no guests would come in after 10 o'clock. So I had my boyfriend come in one time with me at 10:30, and Ms. Guerra had a problem with it, and I said, I'm sorry, I will never do that again. But the main problem was that my boyfriend was left at in my room for 2 hours on Wednesday, on March 3rd. That's when Ms. Guerra got upset and pulled me aside and told me that she didn't appreciate the fact that my boyfriend was there alone by himself. And Ms. Guerra started using obscene languages at me and calling me names. Then my boyfriend interfered and told her to stop talking to me like a mom, like even less than a mom. And Ms. Guerra started fighting with my boyfriend. Then she turned to me and said that I had 3 days to move. And this is what she gave me, the 3-day notice to perform conditions or quit. Saturday, I gave her the letter saying that upon your restated conditions, I would like to stay and perform the conditions to fulfill my contract.
You say, well, I'm going to comply with the terms that you indicate in the lease that I should have been complying with all along. But if you have a problem with it, you may choose to end the lease. And my obligation under the lease will also end. So what you're doing is covering yourself, which is very smart. You say, I'll leave, but if I leave, I'm not going to be responsible for any more rent. Right?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Guerra, let's move on.
She acknowledged that it was uncomfortable for all the other females in the house to have her boyfriend staying there when she wasn't there, day and night, him entering all hours of the night through the back door. And she would not agree to stop doing that. So she had to choose to either stop doing that or leave.
Actually,
I will, and she signed this agreement, said I will leave on Sunday, March 7th at 10 p.m. This will leave no obligation or financial responsibility on my part to fulfill the lease agreement, which ends September 1st. Tenant, she signed it and you signed it. So why, madam, are you here?
Because she would not give me the deposit money back, and also the money that I had lost during the burglary for totaling $750.
Okay, so let's talk about the burglary first.
Yes.
Ms. Guerra said that the house was in fact burglarized, but it was burglarized because of your negligence in leaving the back door open. She also says, and listen to me very carefully, you say you lost $750 worth of property, is that right?
Yes.
Ms. Guerra said that she has a document, she said this in her answer, that says otherwise. May I see it, please?
I also have a document.
I didn't ask you for anything yet.
Let me turn to the right page. This is the police report.
Okay, can I see it, please? The method of entry for this burglary was a house unlocked. They came in through the back door?
Yes.
Unlocked, and that's your door. Is that right?
No, that's not my door. That's everybody's door. Just because she gave me the key to come in late at night does not mean that it's only my door.
But she gave you the key to come into the back door late at night. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Am I correct that this burglary occurred on the 17th of February, 2004?
Yes.
And am I correct that you reported items missing some 2 months later on April 6th, 2004?
Actually,
Just answer my question.
yes.
You reported it to the police after you were evicted.
Yes, because
Get real. Okay. Now, why can't she have her security deposit back, $450?
Because she did not pay rent for March, and I found somebody that came in April 1st who's paying less rent, so I'm also losing each month by her not fulfilling her lease
Ms. Guerra,
agreement.
you have a counterclaim that's nonsense.
Okay.
You signed an agreement with the plaintiff that if she moved out, you were releasing her from any terms and conditions under the lease. So how could you now file for a claim for $3,000 for the money left remaining under the lease? How can you do that when you signed an agreement saying, if you go, I'm holding you harmless? How can you do that?
I figured since we were all suing each other, she was suing me, I would just sue her for what we also had
think
in
again.
writing.
Think again.
Okay.
Think again. I don't like to be bothered.
Okay.
You owe what?
I believe that the item stolen from my room is what happened, and I did not have the police report right away because she had promised me that she would call the police to do that for me. And
Well, that's too bad. If I believe you, it's too bad, and I don't believe you. I believe that you set up this additional lawsuit in April, 2 months after the incident, and after you were evicted, and she didn't return your security deposit, put your hand down. And after she didn't return your security deposit, a month after she didn't return your security deposit, you decided to make a whole big lawsuit.
I had no choice. She made me sign the paper.
Grow up. Listen, give her back $300 of her security deposit. She did, in fact, live there for a full week in March. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused when they step out.
I don't feel that I broke the rule because Ms. Guerra, after the burglary, allowed me to have my boyfriend come in after 10 o'clock.
Her boyfriend lived there, and I was trying to not let that happen and get in the way of evicting a student during the semester.
I never really spoke to her, never really talked to her. I just come in, be with my girlfriend, and that's it, and I would leave.
I think Ms. Guerra scammed everybody with by only having international students live there, and she mistakenly thought that I was also an international student.
If she's suing me for items that were not even there, I figured I just will go ahead and countersue for what was really stolen from me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Morathi versus McCarty, step forward, please.
Child care provider Gina Morathi is suing her ex-husband, mental health associate Franklin McCarty, for stealing her income tax return. Franklin says he supported Gina and her 3 children for 7 years.
Miss Morathi, who is this gentleman?
This is my husband, John.
Okay, and this is your former husband.
Correct.
How long were you married?
We were married for 6 years.
You have children together?
We have 1 child.
How old?
He's 6.
And you have children from a previous marriage?
Correct. And that
How many?
I have 3.
According to your complaint, an income tax return that was due you was deposited in a joint bank account.
Correct.
That it had not been switched over after or during your separation and during the divorce. And Mr. McCarthy used that money.
Correct.
And he doesn't deny that. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was the income tax refund that you got?
I was supposed to receive $3,012.
Your defense is that you supported her and her 3 children for years.
Yes, ma'am.
And the money is yours.
Yes, ma'am.
That's no defense. You have no defense if you spent her money. Yes, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. For me, supporting her kids, it wasn't my obligation to do it. It was her previous husband.
You're absolutely right. You don't have to do it.
So through discussions that we had while we were together, she was going to take him back to court for back child support and also for medical expenses. And I was going to let her keep that. I wasn't going to argue because that is actually more than what the case is all about. Because through all this, her mother and I put my insurance and money into the oldest daughter having dental. The oldest daughter...
Mr. McCarthy, listen to me very carefully, sir. I know that when you got this money, when you realized that it was her income tax refund, you were lying in bed with your eyes open, and conjuring up all the reasons to support your argument that that money should morally, I'm speaking. You made me bite my lip because you went to interrupt me. That money should legitimately be yours because you took on the responsibility of her 3 children and she was supposed to get that money from her husband. If she got the money from her ex-husband, you would have let her keep that money, but she never got the money from her ex-husband, so you couldn't let her keep it, but now she's got some money from an income tax refund from her job, so that should be yours. That's what you're telling me.
No, ma'am, that's not correct. We didn't know until June of this year that her income tax came in, because of the IRS told her that they were going to take her income tax because of her bankruptcy. So when the money came in and I opened my new account, I had direct deposit from previous jobs, my state income tax, my regular income tax, and a paycheck still going to that account before everything would be switched over. So when I went in there, I said, I need to take this much out, because I asked for my balance. I said, okay, I need to leave $1,650 in there and open a new account.
Just a second. Why were you leaving First of all, you want me to believe that for 6 months you didn't look at this account and you just had your checks go in. Are you independently wealthy? You live on a trust fund?
No, ma'am, I don't.
All right. Most people who have a job and they're waiting for their income tax returns, especially when they're getting $4,000 back, they know when it goes in there. I should make a gift to you of $870.
Well, we have a son together.
So what? Especially when you find that you have money in the bank. Then you say, listen, I don't want you to give me this $870 because if I really needed money, now that we know that there was $3,000 in there that belonged to me, just give me the difference. Now, if you got this $2,142 back, it's my understanding from your papers that you went through a personal bankruptcy. Is that right? Who gets this $2,142?
United States Bankruptcy Court.
So you are really here on behalf of the United States Bankruptcy Court. Is that what you're saying?
I was ordered to turn it over.
You had how much in debt when you filed bankruptcy?
Approximately $20,000.
And to whom?
A lot of medical bills, basically.
What were the medical bills for?
Psychiatric.
Whose?
Mine.
So if I were to award this money, the check would be made out to the United States Bankruptcy Court. Is that right?
Correct.
And that's what you want?
Yes.
Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,142. The check is to be made out. Make sure that my clerk has the bankruptcy court number. Okay. Thank you very much. That's all.
I do know I took out money, some more money, but I also put some more money in there.
If he had any complaints about anything, he could have brought it up in our divorce hearing.
It could be possibly a free ride. I just don't know.
I just need to pay the bankruptcy court, that's all.
It's done and over. We have to get along because we have a son together, and hopefully we can put this behind us and both of us take care of our son.
Sarah Gardner is suing her former live-in boyfriend, Aaron Zaleski, for rent and a loan to pay a traffic fine. Aaron is countersuing for the unpaid balance on an apartment lease.
Everybody. Yeah, this is case number 403 on the calendar in the matter of Gardner versus Zaleski. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Gardner, you and Mr. Zaleski lived together for a period of time. It is your claim that he owes you for some old bills, some rent, and fines. Mr. Zaleski says that he agreed, when the two of you parted ways, to a restraining order issued in your favor. And sort of as a quid pro quo, you agreed to take on the responsibility of the bills and the house and the lease, etc. Is that right, sir?
That's correct, Your Honor.
As far as the fines were concerned, he says he never borrowed any money from you. So, when did you live together?
From July of 2003 through the end of June 2004.
And did you both sign a lease?
The first year, his credit wasn't good enough, so I was the only person on the lease for the first year. There were 2 leases involved.
Do you claim that he owes you any money from the first lease?
Yes.
So if he owes you money from the first lease, why did you sign another lease with him?
Because the first lease, I was giving him an opportunity to get back on his feet. He wasn't paying rent from his first place. His roommates were kicking him out. So we had the agreement that he would pay me back if I gave him the opportunity to get back on his feet.
But he didn't do that. He didn't pay you back. And he didn't pay his other roommates back.
Correct.
And despite that, you signed yet another lease with him.
At that time, he was an investment. I had already lent
He's
him.
a bad investment. That
Correct.
means you had bad judgment.
I did.
So now let's start out with lease number 2, because I'm not interested in lease number 1. When did you sign the second lease?
in May of 2004.
Did you sign the lease too, sir?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Very good. And how much was the rent?
My share was $505 a month.
Is that right?
He's correct.
Okay. Did you pay it?
I paid for the first month that I lived there.
How many months did you live there?
Well, 17 days after we moved into the apartment, she informed me that she wanted to end our relationship, and she instructed me that I was to go out and get my own apartment and take care of myself on my own.
So you're telling me that you paid May's rent?
Actually, we moved in, the lease started June 1st.
You mean the landlord gave you a freebie for May?
We moved in at the end of May. They gave us a few free days at the end of May to move in.
Okay. And he moved out when?
The last weekend in June.
Did you pay June's rent?
Yes, I did.
Show me.
I paid all but $30 of it. I have it all documented.
Let me see. Jack. What are these things, these receipt things?
Those were receipts that I was giving a copy to her every time I made a payment to her.
Excuse me?
Excuse me? Did you ever see these before?
No.
Of course not. He does nice tabs, but Mr. Zaletsky, what you're trying to tell me is that the woman that you were sleeping with every night, you would give her a receipt if you gave her $40. I just want you to see if that's what you're trying to tell me.
After this process, probably.
What does that mean? After this process, probably. I want to know, sir. You were living with her?
Not at the time the payments were made.
Oh.
Those were made after she had kicked me out of the apartment.
Did he give you money after he was kicked out of the apartment?
No.
Of course not. By the way, do you have a checking account?
No, not right now.
Did you?
Did I have...
Ever have
Yes.
a checking account?
Yes.
Let me see.
It was from October 2003 to May 2004. Those are all payments made for bills and to Sarah Gardner, check duplicates, and bank statements.
Why don't you have a checkbook anymore, sir?
Because the balance that I had at this bank account was overdrawn, and I did not have time to open up a new banking account.
So you had an overdrawn bank account because you didn't have any money?
Correct.
And yet you were giving her money for some old bills, according to you, that going back to 2003. Is that what you're telling me?
She can be very demanding, Your Honor.
Uh-huh. Okay. 505 you owe her for June because you have no payment here for June, other than the yellow little receipts that I don't believe. Yeah, you can give this back to him. He's got nice color. He did a nice job here, I must say. This is a very, very nice job.
Not as good as she did lying.
Sir, you don't understand. There is no payment for June's rent.
I have the original cash ledger with every payment that I gave her.
I'm not interested in 2003. If she was dumb enough to sign up with you again after you owed her, allegedly, all this money from 2003, that's her problem. That comes under the category of being dumb. I'm just talking about June 2004's rent. And if you can show me that you paid $505 for June 2004's rent, I'll give you credit for it.
Well...
Can you or can you not?
The total amount of rent due from the first lease...
I'm not interested in the first lease.
I overpaid her, Your Honor.
Listen to me.
No.
Show me a check for June's rent.
I cannot do that.
All right. Now, what about this fine, Miss Gardner? When was it? What was it for?
In October of 2003, he got his license taken away. It was for an old parking ticket he didn't pay for. In May of 2004, he wanted to get his license back. He had about $1,300 in fines. The only actual evidence I could come up with that I paid was $475. I know there was more, but I have evidence for $475 of those fines.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
What about these fines, Mr. Zaletsky?
That was money loaned so we could get those cleared up so we could...
We. I don't understand the we. Who got the tickets?
I did.
So when did it become a plural, we, so that we could clear them up?
When we were moving on to the next chapter in our relationship and our lives after she graduated college and we were moving to Madison.
They're your fines. Why should she pay them?
She offered.
Because he promised to pay me back.
Of course he did. Do we have a new boyfriend, Miss Gardner?
Yes.
Does he have a job?
Yes, he does.
Does he pay his own way?
Yes, he does. And then some.
Good. Well, at least you learn.
Real quick.
Eventually.
Right. Learn from our mistakes.
Okay. Now, you, sir, say that she agreed to sort of swallow hard with regard to this entire debt. If you consented to a protective order, even though you really weren't harassing her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the fact that she signed up for a protective order because you were bothering her.
Yes.
You were summoned to court.
Mm-hmm.
You consented to the order.
Correct.
Show me where she said, I will assume all of the responsibility.
Can I just say something?
I want to look at it. You can say whatever you want after I look at his
See,
evidence.
it's the last sentence on page 2 and
Yes.
page 3. She stated it twice, Your Honor.
I'm going to look at it. So. Oh, what she says is, Aaron owes me several $1,000s, but I'm willing to cut my losses to get him out of my life.
Correct.
Well, she is cutting her losses, sir. She says you owe it several $1,000s. I just cut it down for you to $980.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, ex-boyfriend Aaron Zaleski owes for breaking an apartment lease. Aaron says Sarah told him to move out.
Now let's get to your counterclaim.
Okay. Sarah Gardner kicked me out on June 17th, 2004.
Sarah Gardner, according to you, told you that she thought it was time for you to get out of the apartment, correct?
Actually, it was a trial separation where I got my own apartment and she had her own apartment, but we were still trying to continue to be friends. There were instances where she even cooked me dinner a few nights, watched movies after I was gone.
Listen, not Oprah. What's your counterclaim about?
My counterclaim is to make up the difference in rent accrued in the apartment since she got evicted and kicked me out. I signed the lease along with her mother as a co-signer, and the rent currently due is $4,985, and I am requesting half of that amount, which is $2,492.50.
Why? Who's suing you?
They will be suing as soon as the apartment is re-rented. She jumped the gun and decided to sue before it was closed.
Your counterclaim is premature, sir.
So would her claim be then too, wouldn't it?
No, sir. You lived there in June. Your behind was in the bed in June. You didn't pay the rent, so you owe her for that. You gathered up hundreds and hundreds of dollars in fines. She paid them. That is not something in futuro. The fact that you think that the landlord may come after you for unpaid rent for the lease that you signed is speculative. Do I make myself clear?
Clear.
Counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $980. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Say one more thing. Look up. Look up. Say thank you, God.
Thank you, God. Honestly, I'm just glad that it's over. I hope I never have to see him again.
Unfortunately, my best was never good enough for her.
He's got issues.
She gave me the greatest year of my life, and I've never been loved more by anybody so genuinely, and I'm going to miss that, and it haunts me every day.
Notary Public Marlene Ruddock is suing her ex-boyfriend, bail bondsman Tim Dean, for forging documents and stealing her possessions. Tim is countersuing for harassment.
Now, this is case number 139 on the calendar in the matter of Ruddock versus Dean. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Ruddock, it is your claim that the defendant has your property from your home, television, furniture, etc. The defendant says that you sold him this property, and he has a notarized bill of sale to prove it. How do you know him?
Years ago, when I was in property management, I leased him and his best friend an apartment. And through the years, I had gotten married. Recently, we had gone back in contact.
How did you do that?
I had made a phone call to him. Me and my husband were having issues at the time. And
were you and your husband still living together?
No, we were separated.
So you contacted him for what purpose?
We were together at one time.
You were a couple?
Yes.
My question is, you contacted him why?
Out of caring feelings, that kind of thing.
Okay. When did you contact him?
I believe it was in September.
And you and your husband were not living together at the time?
No.
Okay. So how did he come into possession of your furniture?
Back in November, around Thanksgiving time, he works with a bail bond company, and him and his friends had gone into one of their clients' homes and were staking it out. And they were waiting for the client to come back into the home and get money back from him so he could be released. And my notary stamp was involved in this, and he clearly told me that he had taken it, used my name, signed my name on this power of attorney to remove the belongings from this home.
Just a second. What does that have to do with your furniture?
What that has to do with it is the state of Nevada had pressed charges on him and had got in contact with me in December.
Just a second. So far, all you've told me is that in September of 2003, you were separated from your husband, and you put in a call to Mr. Dean because you and he were a couple at one time.
Correct.
That's all I heard. Then I heard some bubba-mices about him being in somebody else's house with Richard Dreyfuss on a stakeout. Do you understand?
Correct.
We're not at your house yet.
Okay.
With your furniture.
Basically, what happened in December is I'd been contacted by the state of Nevada.
No, you're back there again, Mrs. Ruddock.
I had to leave for my safety.
Mrs. Ruddock, I don't know how he came to live in your house, madam.
Because he had established residence there.
Well, we didn't get to that. So let's go back to September when you placed a phone call to him. You said hello. He said hello.
We became a couple again.
I don't know what that means, we became a couple.
He moved into my home.
When did he move into your home?
Probably the first part of October, along with his daughter. Then in December, I was contacted by the state of Nevada that my car had been involved in a criminal activity.
Your what?
My Cadillac, my car, my vehicle that Mr. Dean had been driving. And at that time, me and him had decided to go our separate ways, and he had contacted me when I was at work on my cell phone telling me to bring his belongings back to him. Or I could say sorry, and this would all go away.
Just a second. Miss Ruddock, you are all over the place, and I'm having a really difficult time following you, madam. Was he living in your home, or was he not living in your home?
Yes, he was living in my home.
So in December, he was living in your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And at that time, on that same day...
What day?
It was December 8th or the 7th of 2003.
Okay.
And he had called telling me if I didn't bring his car back to him, then everything could be okay with us if I said sorry. I feared for my safety at that time because I'd been in contact with the state of Nevada. I got my children and went to California because I had told them what I knew, what he'd done with my notary stamp in forging my name on this power of attorney where it goes back in November. And I left with my children at that time for fear of my safety. When I came back on December 14th, I had called the police, and they went up with me. They looked at the 5-day on the notice, and the cop handed it to me. He says, "Are you aware that you've been served this 5-day?"
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This 5-day right here.
What do you mean you have been served with a 5-day?
That's what
a 5-day what?
A 5-day notice to leave my home.
Who was on the lease in your home?
My husband, myself, and my children. This is the lease right here. So I held the original lease.
Well, your children can't sign a lease.
No, but they just put 2 adults, 2 children.
Okay. December 7th or 8th you left. Is that what you say? And you came back on December 14th. And between December 7th or 8th and December 14th is when you say he came into possession of your furniture and your belongings?
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, Mr. Dean. You do not deny that you have Mrs. Ruddock's furniture and television, et cetera, but it is your claim that she sold you all this property. Is that
yes,
right?
Your Honor.
All right. So let me hear how she sold you the property, sir.
Well, let's put a little clarity on this. As Ms. Ruddock was saying, I knew her years ago. She was dating my bounty hunting partner at the time. And once they broke it off, we dated for a couple weeks till I found out that she was still seeing her husband.
Okay. Listen to me. I don't want to go back that far,
okay,
Mr. Dean. You have her furniture. Prove to me, sir, that she sold it to you because she owed you money.
That's what I think, but what it is, it was another little thing she was doing as far as so her husband wouldn't get half the belongings.
You swore in your answer, sir, that she sold you her furniture because she owed you money. That's what you said. So I want you to try sticking to one story. Explain to me how she owed you money, for what, and when she sold you the furniture.
She told me that she was selling me the furniture for the money that she owed me, but I knew because...
Just a minute. Tell me what money she owed, Mr. Dean.
I'd paid off her warrants.
Paid off her warrants. Warrants for what?
For bad checks, Your Honor.
Okay. And you paid them off how, sir?
By giving her the money which she never used to pay the warrants.
Show me.
Show you?
Show me check, money order, withdrawal from a bank.
I gave her cash, Your Honor.
Show me check, money order, or withdrawal from the bank.
I don't have that, Your Honor. Just my daughter is a witness attesting to that.
I'm not going to ask her a question. I mean, what do you think you were coming to court for, sir? The tea dance?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Ex-boyfriend Tim Dean forged documents in order to steal her belongings. Tim says Marlene was trying to hide property from her ex-husband.
First of all, let me see the bill of sale, and then you're going to explain to me exactly how she was compensated for her furniture. Show me the bill of sale and then explain to me how she was compensated.
Gave it to her. She has a copy of it, Your Honor.
You have the bill of sale?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. And this is also...
Don't speak. Just show it to me. I have a feeling you two of you deserve each other.
This is forged, Your Honor. That's what my...
I didn't ask you a thing. I asked you for the bill of sale. Do you understand?
Yes.
I mean, I think that you're a con artist as well. I know he is. I don't think you're much better. We'll show this to him. Let's see if this is... Is that the bill of sale, sir, that you showed the police?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Dean. So I am correct, sir. When she came back on December the 14th, she said, give me my furniture back. You said, I have a bill of sale, right? She sold me the furniture.
Correct.
Right? She sold you the furniture for a big screen Mitsubishi television set for $1, all household furnishings for $1, all tools for $1, all appliances for $1, all wall hangers for $1, all bedding for $1, and the 1993 Cadillac Eldorado for $2.50.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, are you still living in the apartment, sir?
It's a house, Your Honor.
Are you still living in the house?
Correct.
Good. With all of this stuff? With all of this stuff?
No. The only thing.
Yeah, listen to me, sir.
The only thing of value was the big screen TV. In fact, everything
now
else.
Listen to me, sir. Now I want you to listen to me very, very carefully.
Okay.
Did I tell you about 5 minutes ago that I'm smarter than you are? I don't think you believe me. This is not a bill of sale that reflects the value of this property.
Exactly.
And if what you're telling me is that you knew that what Miss Ruddock was trying to do was to fraudulently convey marital property to you, is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you.
Then what I'm telling you is this isn't worth anything. Do you understand? If you are aware that she is trying to commit a fraud and you are complicit in that, then this goes in the garbage. Do you understand, Mr. Dean?
She owed me the money, Your Honor.
No, now we're getting back to, oh, she owed me the money. And what I'm telling you is, show me. I want you to show me. And if you can't, say, I can't.
I can't, Your Honor.
Good. Then I find that that is a fraudulent conveyance, and within 5 days, she will be there with a moving van to pick up all the items on that piece of garbage, including all of the household furniture, the television, etc.
Everything of those items is mine, Your Honor. As far as
Listen to me. Listen to me, sir. Show me. Show me, Mr. Dean.
Those items are mine.
That is too bad. And I'm telling you, she is coming to pick up your property.
No, she's not,
property, sir. Yes, 5 days from today. Absolutely, Mr. Dean. That is what's going to happen, sir. Now, let's get to your counterclaim. I don't want to hear anything else. Counterclaim, Mr. Dean.
Your Honor, I know exactly what's going on here, and I don't appreciate it.
That's too bad, sir. If you're not going to get to your counterclaim is dismissed with prejudice. Step out. 5 days from today, the court will enter an order. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've got a temporary restraining order from this woman.
As I've said before, he's a shyster.
She slashed my tires.
Me slashing tires is not my style, that's his.
She tried to tow my vehicles.
He knows that everything he said was a lie.
She's psycho.
I'm glad Judge Judy ruled in my favor.
Nursing student Angela Nemechek is suing her biological daughter, 17-year-old Jessica Simons, and Jessica's adoptive sister, Kathy Brooks, for the money she spent when Jessica came to live with her. Jessica and Kathy are countersuing, claiming Angela stole Jessica's Social Security checks.
All rise. This is case number 449 on the calendar in the matter of Nemechek versus Brooks Simons. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Looks like a lot of witnesses here for a relatively simple case. Miss Nemechek?
Yes.
I assume that this is Jessica?
Yes.
According to your complaint, you are Jessica's birth mother.
Yes.
And Jessica was adopted by a family when she was 4 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are her sister?
Yes.
Adoptive sister?
Yes.
And both of her adoptive parents passed away, unfortunately, from illness. For a period of time, she was staying with you.
Yes.
And then Ms. Nemechek, Jessica, decided that she wanted to come and live with you.
Yes.
And she did for a short period of time.
Yes, Your Honor.
3 months, 4 months?
2.5 months.
That was
And during-
3.5 months.
3.5 months. And during that time, you purchased some clothing for her and had other expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then there was falling out.
Yes,
And
Your
she
Honor.
went back to her sister's home.
Correct.
She and her sister came and got all this stuff that you had purchased for Jessica.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated for that.
Yes.
You're Miss Brooks?
Yes.
You have a counterclaim on behalf of your sister because you have guardianship of her now.
Correct.
And that is for reimbursement from the Social Security checks.
Correct.
That was sent to Miss Nemechek. And you want that money back because you say that was hers to spend.
Correct.
Miss Nemechek, how old was Jessica when she was adopted?
4.
And did you have contact with her from age 4 to age 17?
Yes, I did.
When?
Periodically. I've had phone calls with them. I've went and seen them. Me and their godmother, the one that adopted them, was really good friends. That's the reason why I let her adopt them, was because of my sickness that I do have, and currently still have.
Is that a physiological or a mental illness?
Physiological and mental.
Did you support your daughter over the years with money?
When I seen them at times, I did when I could financially afford it.
I'm talking about regular support.
No.
When your daughter came to live with you, I assume that either you weren't getting along with your sister, is that right?
Well, I just wanted to go live with my mom. I just wanted to get to know her. I wanted to have a mother-daughter relationship with her.
Do you approve of that?
At first, no, because of all the problems that we have had with Angela.
What kind of problems?
She would call their schools when my parents were alive, trying to get them out of school. Jessica and I are, we do fight a lot, and I think we do because you don't go from being a sister to trying to be a mother. And, you know, when someone is, 14 years old, our relationship changed because...
Were you married when your parents died?
Yes.
You have children?
I have 3 children.
And you took your sister to live with you?
I took both of my sisters to live with me.
And this was the older sister?
Yes.
Is that right? Did she take good care of you?
Yes.
I love her. She's my sister. When Jessica came to me and told me she wanted to know Angie, sorry.
Would it be better if I asked you questions?
No, I need to say this because it's important. I don't know what it's like not knowing your parents. So who was I to tell Jessica that she couldn't get to know her biological mother? Unfortunately, Angela, in the whole time since my parents have had Venus and Jessica and their older brother David, my parents adopted 3 of her children so they could stay together. She never could step up to the plate and act like an adult and knock on my door and say, hey, Kath, I'm sorry your parents died. I really want to help. I really would like to get to know my daughter.
She would sneak around and see us, basically.
So it was very hard for me to let Jessica go, but I spoke with Jessica all the time. She gets a death benefit from my parents. That's what she has left of my parents.
And what did you do with your death benefit, Jessica?
I signed the money over to my mother so she can put it in her bank. And she said she would save the money for me so I can buy a car.
Did you do that, Ms. Nemechek?
I did put that money in the bank. I put it in my savings account, and Jessica kept asking me for money, and I kept taking it out of my savings account and giving it to her. I do have proof of that.
Well, how much in the 3 months that she was there? You got 3 checks?
I got 2.
How much were they for?
$931 each.
One was $931, one was $731, and that was it.
How much did she get?
$931 each a month, and it was a total of $2,700 and some odd dollars that was given to her from her death benefit.
Well, let's say, for argument's sake, it was about $2,000. When your daughter decided to go back, how much of the money that she turned over to you did you return to her or put in a savings account in her name?
She had none. She had taken that all out with withdrawals.
How could I...
Just a second.
Okay.
Let us assume that that's true. Who are you suing and for what?
The money that the 2 checks that she received, that Kathy had gave her, we gave her more money besides that.
You're her mother. Who's supposed to take care of
I signed my rights over.
Then
I signed my rights over.
Then Ms. Nemechek...
She's getting a check, Miss Kathy Brooks.
I'm speaking.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Adoptive sister Kathy Brooks for money she spent on Jessica's behalf. Angela says Jessica lived with her for 3 months when her adoptive parents died.
If you don't want to be her mother, then you say, I'm sorry you can't come to live with me. But when you buy her clothes, things that you should have been buying for her for 17 years, and she decides, I am speaking, and you give it to her, that is a gift. You don't get that back. You get to say, I'm sorry it didn't work out. I know I wasn't much of a parent to you when you were growing up. I know that you had lovely parents. Fortunately, I wasn't there for you. This little bit is my small bit, aside from the fact that you got a couple of $1,000s that you spent because $100 here and $100 there over 3 months don't come out to $2,000.
I have all my bills.
I don't care what you have. What you don't have, clearly, is a conscience. You're supposed to do the right thing.
You have no idea what I went through in the past 17 years with
That's not, listen to me. Whatever happened to you over 17 years, you visited on yourself, and you also visited on your children. Because whatever problems you had, you decided to have children. Mm-hmm. They didn't make that choice. You made that choice.
Yes,
so quite frankly, nobody is interested in what you went through over 17 years. That's your problem. You visited your problems on innocence. And when you do that, you don't get sympathy. And when you do that...
The reason why I gave up my kids is because I have leukemia. I was told I had 2 years to live.
Listen to me very carefully. If God blessed you and said, while you had 2 years to live, here you are, 15 years later, still alive and kicking, then what you do if your daughter comes back to you and you've given her a couple of $1,000s in clothes that you didn't take care of over her entire growing up years, and you decided to do it,
Your Honor,
and if it didn't work out,
her clothes in between those 17 years.
Ms. Nemechek, quite frankly, I find your behavior bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. If you suffer from an illness, and if you're giving me that as an excuse for giving up your children, despite the fact that years later you're still here, and if you had the unique opportunity of getting to know your children again, then you don't terminate that by suing them. That's stupid
I'm
and
not suing
amoral.
my daughter. I'm suing the person that supposedly gave her money that she never gave her.
That has nothing to do with you. It's not your money. It's not your money. It's Bird's money. It's the citizens' money. It's not your money. Now, but for the fact, Miss Brooks, just a second. Don't move.
Them walk up here?
No. I don't need them. I said there are an awful lot of witnesses here for a relatively simplistic case. There's nothing that I don't understand that I have to have
well, there's
made
a lot
clear.
More to this case, Your Honor. It's not just about the money.
Well, if it's not just about the money, you're in the wrong place. Go to a psychiatrist. Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here about the money. That's what courts are for. Other than that, you can go find Dr. Phil someplace. He'll be more than happy to hear you. Now, shh, Ms. Brooks, but for the fact that Ms. Nemechek brought this action against you, would you have counterclaimed for the money that Jessica gave her?
Yes, we actually already hired an attorney to help us write up the complaint against Ms. Nemechek. I also have a letter from our bank stating that Jessica's death benefit did come out of her account.
Well, let me see the letter from the bank. How long do you receive the death benefits for, Jessica?
Till I'm 18 and out of school, high school.
Well, this letter indicates, Ms. Nemechek, that there were 3 checks, all in the amount of $931.
Well, all I have here is a deposit on August 9th for $731.
That doesn't mean that you didn't get $931.
And then I
that
have
means
a
that
deposit here
I'm speaking.
September.
I'm speaking. Death benefits don't change by $200. So that means that you may have deposited $731 and taken $200 in cash.
I don't recall that, Your Honor.
Well, if you don't recall, that's why I have this from the bank. So 931 times 3 is $2,793. What'd you do with it?
Right here.
Oh, let me see it. Perfect. What's Sprint?
That's a cell phone bill.
$122?
Yes.
Get it. I don't know what this is. This is nothing. White Fox Den, $28. What's that for?
That's food.
Food?
Food.
Oh my God.
Walgreens. Sunglasses. 3 pairs of sunglasses. Shampoo. What's that for?
It's for Jessica.
Miss Nemechek, I think you're a bad lady. And I believe your daughter when she said you were going to take these checks and put them in an account for her, and the purpose of that account was that when she got to be old enough, she was going to be able to buy a car for herself. I believe you told her that, and I believe that you then went through your trash can and picked out receipts that you decided for your home, for you and your husband and whoever else lives there, that the government was going to be responsible for. If you supported your daughter yourself for 3 months and you've given her no other support her whole life, you ought to thank God that somebody took care of her for the 14 years that you didn't. Judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim in the amount of $2,793. Your claim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I wouldn't let her have custody over me, and that's just a way of revenge for her, I guess. Suing her own daughter.
I have one daughter here. She's the one I'll help, because I know she never screws me like the other one did.
She was just doing everything behind everybody's back.
My son Scott, she came to his school and asked him to go and do drugs with her.
I'll see her in the next court on that one.
She does need professional help. Definitely, she does.
Maybe later on in life, if I'm not dead, then she can come around. But then again, my husband don't want her ever around.
I think it's ridiculous. I have nothing to do with her anymore.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Nagel versus Goulet, step forward, please.
20-year-old salesperson Michael Nagel is suing his ex-roommate, 18-year-old model Jessica Goulet, for unpaid rent and bills. Jessica is countersuing, claiming Michael sold her stereo and pet bird.
The defendant was a roommate of yours, and it is your claim that she moved out owing you for some rent and bills.
Correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Goulet says that she owes you nothing. As a matter of fact, she says that you have retained her property and sold some of her property, according to her, and that you actually owe her money.
Yes.
Is there a rest of that outfit that you're wearing? When you go to a court, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to cover your belly button. Do you understand?
I do understand that.
Good. But?
I was just going to say that I only have a very limited amount of clothing because all of my other property is at his place.
Well, would you like to borrow her shirt? That would have been more appropriate. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have to know where you're going. You wouldn't go to church in that outfit, would you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you know enough to do that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, when did she become your roommate and under what circumstances?
October 28th, 2003, Your Honor. The circumstances were, I've known her brother for close to 9 years now. We moved in together. However, his job made him move. So under his advice, I took in his sister and her boyfriend as my new roommates, because without that, I would have to cover the rent and bills all by myself.
Okay. They were each going to pay how much? A third of the rent each?
They each were going to pay $225 a month for rent, Your Honor.
And how much was your rent?
$525, Your Honor.
And they did move in on the 28th of October?
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened in November? Did they pay rent?
Yes.
December?
Yes.
January?
No.
What happened in January?
Her check bounced, Your Honor, and I had to cover that, and I've only been reimbursed $150 from that check.
Why did your check bounce in January?
My parents had just moved, and I was taking care of everything on my own. I had just gotten a car and things like that, and I thought I had the money. If I wrote the check, I would be able to put it in the bank and it would clear, but it just...
So she owed you $75 from January?
$113 from January, Your Honor.
Why?
Due to the fact that there was a late fee on this.
I got you. Okay, so that's January. And what happened in February?
I had come back from Nashville, Tennessee on February 3rd, and I had asked her about rent because it was due. I had talked to the landlord, and he had given me an extension to turn it in on the 3rd. So I asked her about rent, and she flatly said, you know, I don't have it. So Is
that right?
Yeah, I told him that I didn't have it, that I would get it to him as soon as I could.
And she didn't, Your Honor.
When did you move out?
I actually moved out. He had kicked my boyfriend out, say January 16th, around that time. And there was a big discussion about that.
Why did you put her boyfriend out?
Because he didn't pay bills, Your Honor.
I didn't agree with it because he wasn't going to give him any time. My boyfriend agreed to give him $600 on that Monday, but he told him no.
Why didn't he pay him when he was supposed to?
Because he wasn't going to get the money until that Monday. He couldn't get the money till then
Your Honor.
because of his work.
So the two of you expected him to cover your bills until you could get your acts together.
He told us that he had an extension on all of that and it was okay. When my boyfriend offered to give him the $600, he said that if he gave him the $600 that he could stay there, no problem. And then he called my brother and my brother told him no, that just kick him out now, don't even take the money. So he just packed up his stuff.
What was the $600 for?
The electricity bill, the phone bill, and the cable bill. He had ran up a large amount of my cable bill by ordering adult entertainment on there, as well as movies. And I have proof of that in my records, Your Honor.
I believe you. Listen, if they had paid their bills, I assume you wouldn't have minded if they stayed.
Right.
Right? Okay, so she owes you for February's rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
You didn't pay February's rent, did you?
I moved out before February 1st.
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
No, you just told me you were there.
I actually was staying there, but during the day I was with my boyfriend. And when I came back to get clothes and stuff like that, because I was staying the night with him, he was like, your check bounced, I need the rent, and you have to get out. You either pay me or you get out. So I told him that I would leave, that I would try to go get the money. When I came back, he said, you can only take your clothing because I didn't want to stay there anymore because when he gets pissed off,
See, Your Honor, I gave her a chance to get her clothing and she refused.
I refused to get my clothes?
Yeah,
That's all I have is my clothes. You have
said
everything else.
Don't
You have
fight with
everything
your-
else
Sorry,
of
Your
my
Honor.
belongings.
Miss Goulet, first fix your shirt. Very good. Don't fight with each other. You want to fight with each other, you go outside. You
I'm
don't
sorry,
come
Your Honor.
inside.
Sorry.
Okay, $338, $113 for January that's still due and owing, $225 for February because you lived there most of the month. If you left to follow your boyfriend, that's your problem. Grow up! You got to grow up! Now, let's talk about her property. You still have her property?
Yes, Your Honor.
What about her bird? She says that you sold her bird.
She left it there, Your Honor. That was her brother. Her brother decided to sell it, not me.
Step up. Tell me your name.
My name's James.
Did you come into possession of her bird?
Yes.
When?
After she left, I had started staying there to help Mike out with his bills and stuff like that, and I sold her bird as well as her stereo. And then she's also kind of
Why did you do that?
Well, just, you know, come up with some extra money to help him out.
And also, Your Honor, she had been gone for over a month by that time. She had not called or come by to get her stuff. Therefore, I had no room and nowhere to keep the stuff.
She doesn't have, you don't have to take care of a bird. Well, you want the money for your bird back?
The money for my bird was $500, bird and cage, and plus my stereo was $150.
Your brother sold it.
I know,
You're
but
suing the wrong person. Now, as far as your clothes and other property is concerned, you still have them?
Yeah, she can.
When could she pick them up?
She's picking up right after court, Your Honor.
Terrific.
Now, also, Your Honor, we had a lease agreement when her and her boyfriend moved in that if they did violate the lease, they would be responsible to pay their half of the rent until March.
Where? Show me. They signed it?
Yes, Your Honor, and it's dated also.
Are you still living there?
I actually moved into a different apartment in the same building, Your Honor.
When?
April of this year, Your Honor.
But, Honor, all I'd like to say is I've tried countless times to call him and get a hold of them. My witness has tried calling them. I have tried calling
For what?
them to get a hold of them. So I was going to offer him $500 to pay off the bills so I can get my stuff back. But
He's giving you your stuff back.
I know, but I was going to do this before we even had to go to court.
Your
I didn't
Honor,
want it to go this far.
I have a question, though. If she wants her stuff back and was offering me $500, why is she suing me for $5,000?
Because
she's
won't
not
give me
going
my
to get
stuff back.
5,000 yen. Do you understand? You're
Yes,
just going to
Your
give her
Honor.
back her stuff. And please
All
give
I
her
want
back
is
all
my
of her
stuff. I don't care
shirts.
about the
Yes,
money.
Your
I
Honor.
wanted to have a nice long
And
shirt.
pants.
Did they give you any deposit when they moved in?
Yes, Your Honor, they did.
How much of a deposit did they give you?
They gave me $250 together. $250 had to go towards some of the bills.
You got a lot of bills. So far, she owes you for January and February's rent.
Correct,
This
Your
is,
Honor.
You know, this is not windfall day for you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $338, and 5 days from today, she will pick up all of her stuff. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
towards the end, I mean, she became a little bit belligerent and wouldn't pay bills, so.
If anyone has a problem with, like, the way people act, it's him, because he has, like, an anger management problem.
I know she really liked her bird, but at the same time, I'm pretty busy.
I love my brother dearly and all, but what he did, it hurt.
21-year-old telemarketer Crystal Eckert is suing her ex-boyfriend, advertising specialist Matthew Hammers, for car payments, damages to the vehicle, and an assault.
Yeah, this is case number 72 on the calendar in the matter of Eckert versus Hammers. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Eckert, the defendant used to be your boyfriend, and according to your complaint, he owes you for a variety of things. In 2001, you co-signed for a car for him. According to you, he stopped making payments on the car at some point. You took over those payments. You also took back the car in February of this year. You want him to make the payments to you that you made on the car when the car was in his possession. Then you claim that he damaged 2 cars during an alleged assault on you. One was a car that you were in, and one was the car that you had co-signed for. And you also claim that he assaulted you. The defendant says that he made the car payments, so he doesn't owe you anything for the car, that he returned the car to you in February of this year, and that with regard to the assault, he was merely defending himself. Correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So let's get to the car. We agree that she co-signed for a car for you in 2001. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
On what date did you return the car to her, sir? I'm taking your answer. You say you returned the car to her.
Yes, February 8th.
Tell me the circumstances, Mr. Hammers, of your returning the car to her.
I returned the car as I came back from a trip to Arizona because I didn't want to be a part of her life anymore. I'd had enough of everything that went on.
That's a lie.
Just wait, shh, don't speak. When did the two of you part company?
About November 24th.
You took the car with you?
Correct.
Well, then I want you to explain to me in November, December, January, what prompted you in February to return the car to her?
The altercation that took place on January 11th.
Okay, so this assault altercation preceded you giving the car back to her.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. By the way, Miss Eckert, what did you do with the car when he gave it back to you?
I had to get it fixed, or the bank was going to sue me, and so I had to get the car fixed, and I have estimates showing that I got it fixed. And then...
Can't you just answer my question?
Yes. And then I returned it to the bank after I fixed it.
What did you have to pay them? Anything?
To return it?
Mm-hmm.
No.
So there was no money owed?
No.
How much did you spend to have it fixed?
$474 and some change.
So the car was practically paid off?
No. It was...
No.
We just gotten it. We're making payments on it, and we bought it September 29th.
Did you both put down a down payment?
No.
I put down my old car as a down payment.
Just you?
Just myself.
She didn't put down any money? And no money was owed on the car because you both co-signed it, so that nobody's credit is going to be at risk or anything else?
My credit it shows repossession.
It does?
Yes.
But the finance company didn't tell you that there was any deficiency?
I had to owe the rest of the money.
Well, they had to sell the car at some point. Did they do that yet?
I have no idea.
Let me see what you have there.
This is showing that I paid to have the Eclipse fixed, and these are estimates showing that I tried to find the cheapest place.
How much did you pay to have the car fixed?
$474.68.
Well, is that this bill?
Yes.
Did you make all the payments on the car, sir?
I did, Your Honor.
Show me proof that you made the payments.
May I interject? The way I made the payments was, it was in her name, and I handed her the cash. I have Corey Sykes with me today to prove that. A couple of payments that were made, he took me to give her the cash.
I have never seen this guy.
Let me tell you something, Ms. Eckert. I think that you're a little premature in your lawsuit with regard to this car. Ultimately, the bank is going to come after you.
I returned the car February 18th of 2004 and haven't heard nothing from the bank.
Well, then you better call them, madam, because if you have on your credit report a repossession, the bank is going to tell you how much the deficiency is. They gave you $14,000. They're not going to be able to sell it for $14,000. Do you understand? They're going to sell it for substantially less. And you are going to be primarily responsible for that. So don't look to him for $400 to fix it. You have to look to him for thousands.
Well, that's not all that I'm suing him for.
I understand, but that's primarily what you're suing him for.
Yes. I also have a note saying that he's responsible for all damages that he signed.
That's fine. Listen to me. Don't do anything with regard to the car until you have indication from the bank as to what he owes you. Do you understand? What do you want?
I was with him when he went to go drop off the payments. Since that section's done, I just want to let you know you are very beautiful. I've always admired you. Cute. Thank you. Since I'm done, I'll sit down.
I have never seen that guy.
You got it? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? All right. Now, the only part of your lawsuit left is the assault. So when did this alleged assault take place?
January 11th, 2004.
Tell me about it.
I went over to his house because he wanted me to go up to the bar with him, and I didn't want to go to the bar because the girl that I wasn't getting along with, Alicia, was going to be up there. And so I told him, when you get home, call me or text message.
What's a text message for those of us who are electronically challenged?
On a cell phone, you can text message somebody without having to call them. It's just like an email.
Go ahead.
And I said, okay, do you want me to meet you at your house?
Meet him for what?
To get his phone, because his public defender was going to call about...
To get his phone?
To take a message.
Why couldn't he speak to his public defender?
Because he was going out of town.
Where was he going?
To Arizona, as far as I knew.
And his phone doesn't work in Arizona?
No.
You can't get incoming calls in Arizona?
I didn't have the service at that time, though.
Well, if you didn't have the service, what were you giving her your phone for?
I wasn't.
You were?
Yes, you were.
Okay. So, according to you, you were going to his house to get his telephone so that you could take the call from a public defender because he was going to Arizona.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Bill Eckert says ex-boyfriend Matthew Hammers owes for unpaid car payments, damages to the vehicle, and an assault. Matthew says it was Crystal who assaulted him.
All right. Who did you go to his house with?
Carl Bonnie.
With Carl?
Yes.
Okay. What happened when you got to his house?
Carl stayed in the car. I parked my car down the street, and I walked up. He came downstairs. I got a text message saying, "That's up what you did to Matt." He said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, I got a text message from the girl that I don't like, Alicia, saying, "That's up what you did to Matt." I asked Matt, I said, "What did I do to you?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so I was like, "Fine, whatever, I'm done. This is stupid." And I turned around and I walked off. Matt comes around, I start running, and I hear him, and then he puts his arms around me, and I go sliding on the ground. I have scars from when he did it on my arm and on my knee, and I also have pictures when I fell.
And then what happened?
And then I yell for Carl. Carl comes running out, and Carl, Bonnie, and Matt got into a fist fight, and I went back to my car. I wanted to leave. I didn't want to have no part of anything.
So?
And then after that, I was yelling for Carl, "Come on, let's go, let's go." Carl and Matthew are walking down the street talking.
So they stopped fighting and now they're buddies?
As far as I knew.
Okay, keep
That's
going.
what it looks like to me in my car.
Keep going.
And so Carl gets in my car. Matthew comes on the driver's side and says, "I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you." I said, "No, I don't want to talk." And he gets all mad and runs up to the Eclipse and punches the Eclipse in the left quarter panel. And then I'm driving off. He comes, he punches my driver's side window of the Grand Am and pulls on it, does not break the window. After he punched the window, he was pulling me out of the vehicle. I was clawing his face as in self-defense because I was halfway out of my window, and one arm was behind me, pulling me out. Carl was trying to get his arm off me. That was the end of the story.
Okay, Carl.
He also called my mom.
Now, Carl, Miss Eckert says that at some point after you got it on with Mr. Hammers, you were walking back to the car together. Is that true?
Yes.
And when you were walking back to the car together, what were you discussing?
He said he wanted to talk to her.
Now, you had just been fighting with him, is that right?
Yes.
But yet you were walking back to the car and you weren't fighting?
No.
How did that come about?
He said he wanted to stop, so I stopped.
Well, tell me exactly what he said. He said, "Let's stop this."
And then we...
Is that what he said? "Let's stop
yes.
this"? And then he said to you what, Carl?
He said he wanted to talk to Crystal, and I said, "She's not going to talk to you." And I said,
Did he say what he wanted to talk to her about?
He said he loved her and he was sorry for hitting her.
And then what happened?
And then once we started driving off, he ran up to her car and yelled at her, and then ran back to his car and punched the Eclipse.
What did he yell at her?
He was just calling her names and all that stuff. And
Okay. And he came back to the car?
he ran up to the car and punched the window and grabbed it and started yanking on it, and then started pulling her out of the car. Her head hit the mirror, and I was trying to get his hand off of her. And then all these other people from the same complex there came out and yelled at him to get away, and it stopped from there.
Okay. Now I'll hear you, Mr. Hammers. Let's go back to the 11th of January. Let's hear what you have to say for yourself, sir.
I was at the bar doing karaoke, and I got back home, and Crystal had called my home phone and said that she was downstairs. And I'd gone downstairs to see what she wanted, and she said, I got this text message from Alicia, who was a girl that was at the bar as well. And at this time, Carl and her had dated, and I didn't know, they could have been dating at that time too. I didn't know. And
what part of don't speak don't you understand?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I said, I had no clue about this text message. I don't know what's going on. We exchanged words, and at that point, she reached out and hit me and scratched my neck. And I was like, I don't want any part of this. So I turned around to walk away, and she came after me. She has shoes that she does not tie, and tripped and fell, and she caught my foot when she went down, and I fell as well. From there, she yelled for Carl as I was up helping her up. Carl came out and said, what are you doing to my girl? And ran at me, and he had contacted me, which my back end had hit the eclipse. From there, Carl and I began to wrestle around, and his earring got caught on his sweater. And he said, dude, I don't want to fight you anymore. I underestimated you can fight. From there, I helped him get his sweater off of his earring. And from that time, we were walking back to the Grand Am, and I just...
What were you walking back to the Grand Am where she was sitting?
Because I wanted to tell her I wanted no part of her anymore in my life.
I think she knew that.
True.
Who's Alicia?
Alicia was one of her friends that was at the bar.
Do you know Alicia?
Just through her.
But you've never dated Alicia?
No.
Did you think he had dated Alicia?
No.
Do you think he had talked to Alicia about you?
No.
So what did you care about the text message from Alicia?
Because Alicia told me that she was going to bust my teeth in.
You didn't tell me that. When did she tell you that?
The night before.
Well, why would she say that to you?
Because Matthew told me that Alicia asked Matthew if she wanted to smoke some drugs with her.
And?
Well, then Alicia thought that I was saying a bunch of rumors about her, saying that she's a drug addict, she's no good mother. And so I was like, okay, Alicia wouldn't let me tell her. Alicia told me that she was going to bust my teeth in, so why would I go to the bar?
What's that have to do with him?
He's the one who told me that Alicia asked him that. And
but she was not angry with you about that. She was angry with you because she said that you were going around telling people she was not a good mother and a drug addict.
Yes, and I don't know where she would get that because me and Alicia, we've been friends since 3rd grade.
Oh, so you went over to Matt's house because you were annoyed with him because you thought that he had told your friend Alicia.
That's not
that,
true.
No. I mean, it's coming clear. I know I ask enough questions, it will become clear. You weren't going over there to say to him, what's this about? You knew what it was about. It was about you asking him, why did you say something to Alicia about that drug business that I spoke to you about? Because now she's sending me bad text messages and she says she's going to bust my teeth. Listen to me, you had no reason to go over to his house that night. The only reason you went over to his house that night had to do with the text message from Alicia, not with this baloney about getting a cell phone. Listen to me very carefully. I'm dismissing without prejudice that part of your claim which has to do with the car. Wait until your bank advises you how much the deficiency on the car is after they sell it, and then you sue him for that deficiency, because you are responsible for that, sir. As far as the assault is concerned, I find that you precipitated it by going over there that evening, and that you did, in fact, trip and fall, which is consistent with the injuries. Quiet. The injuries in your photograph to your knee. I'm dismissing that part of your claim with prejudice. Goodbye, and have a happy life.
All these are excused. You may step out.
I think she's just trying to get back at me for, leaving her and life in general.
No, I wasn't angry about that. I was angry that Matthew tackled me.
One time she had said if I messed up her credit, then she was going to mess up my life. So
I'll be seeing him in court in Omaha.
If she's going to try, she's going to try.
22-year-old business owner William Joe Schwartfeger is suing his ex-girlfriend's father, truck driver Warren Day, for a false restraining order. Warren says he was trying to keep William away from his 16-year-old daughter, and he is countersuing for his legal fees.
Quiet in the courtroom, please. Now this is case number 70 on the calendar in the matter of Schwartfeger versus Day. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Schwartfeger?
That's correct.
How old are you, sir?
22.
Bert, I want you to pay careful attention. We're going to go over this scorecard so that you know who the players are in this case.
Gotcha.
Because I have a feeling it's going to be interesting. Who is this young lady?
That is my girlfriend, Sarah Buckley.
What does she have to do with this case?
She is a witness to the harassment, the vandalism to my vehicle, and she's also known the defendant and his daughters for about 5 to 6 years.
How long have you been his girlfriend?
Since November.
So a short-term girlfriend?
Yes.
Mr. Day, these are your 2 daughters?
That's correct.
Your name is?
Samantha.
How old are you, Samantha?
17.
And your name?
Kathleen.
How old are you, Kathleen?
22.
Kathleen, why don't you stand up next to your dad for a minute? Because we're going to get this whole scenario down here. Kathleen, you used to be his girlfriend, is that right?
Yes.
For how long were you his girlfriend?
Almost 4 years.
You have children with him?
2.
How old are your 2 children?
One just turned 3 and one's about 18 months.
Did you live together for a period of time?
Yeah.
For how long?
About 3 of those 4 years.
And how old were you when you started to live with him?
18.
Now you can sit down.
Thank you.
I may come back to you, but right now you can sit. This is what your lawsuit's about, William. According to you, you were being a good Samaritan. And at some point, you took in Mr. Day's younger daughter
That's correct.
into your home because you say she was having some trouble with her dad.
Both parents, Your Honor.
Both parents?
Yes.
Now, at the time that you took her into your house, were you still living with Kathleen?
No, I wasn't.
So Kathleen wasn't living with you anymore with your 2 children. She had left you. You had parted ways.
Right.
But Samantha came to live with you, and at that time Samantha was 16.
That's right.
Mr. Day didn't like that.
Not at all, ma'am.
You didn't like what happened with your first daughter,
That's correct.
and you for sure didn't like what happened with your second daughter.
That's very correct.
So what did you do, Mr. Day?
Well, Mr. Shortfigure hit Samantha in the mouth.
After she was living with him?
Yes.
Okay, let's stop there for a moment. What date did your daughter leave your home?
April 13th.
Of 2003?
Yes. It wasn't my home. She was still with her mother at that time.
You and her mother are separated?
Yes.
In any event, this is what your lawsuit is about, William. The lawsuit says that Mr. Day filed false charges against you for child endangerment, protective orders, causing you to have to hire an attorney, legal fees, and everything that he said about you was false, and you want to be compensated to the tune of $1,954.
That's correct.
Mr. Day, just for good measure, says, well, he wants some money too because you caused him to lose work and attorney's fees because he had to hire an attorney in order to get certain orders reinstated. He wants some money. I think most of what he wants is satisfaction.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, William, tell me about when Kathleen left your house with your 2 children.
We were living together until December of 2002, I believe.
And how old were your children at that point?
The one was 3 months, and the other one was a little over 2 years old. Or, I'm sorry, she had not turned 2 yet.
And why did she leave?
We were having problems in our relationship. We've had an on and off relationship for the last 4.5 to 5 years, so...
It was during the odd periods that you had these children?
Yeah.
Was it an amicable breakup?
Pretty much.
And you continue to see the children?
Yes, on a regular basis.
And you continue to support the children?
That's right. I pay child support every week.
For both children?
That's right.
Okay. And where did Kathleen go when she left?
Actually, she stayed in the apartment that we shared.
And you left?
That's right.
So far, is that correct, Kathleen?
No.
Well, why don't you come up here and tell me what happened? Because this is all very important as far as Mr. Day's state of mind when he filed his complaints. When did you and William separate?
December of 2002.
Under what circumstances?
He was sleeping with my sister.
And how did you find that out, Kathleen?
I found notes.
Did you keep the notes?
My mom has them right now.
You get along with your mother?
Yeah.
Should have brought the notes to court.
I know, she won't give them to me. She said it's an embarrassment to our children.
What did the notes say? First
They
of all,
were-
who wrote the notes?
He did.
Remember what they said?
It said Samantha down the side. It said sexy, amazing, mind-blowing, awesome, naughty, terrific, hot, and a dream come true.
Did you confront William with the note?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said they wrote it as a joke, together.
And when was that?
About 2 weeks before Christmas, December 2002.
You remember that conversation, William?
Yes, I do.
So you told Kathleen, the mother of your 2 children, that the note that you wrote that talked about sexy, naughty, etc., with regard to her sister, her 16-year-old sister, was just joking around.
Well, I write a lot of poetry, And
Joking around.
Yeah.
That's what you told her.
Yeah, I said we wrote it together. Yes.
Oh. Shh, please. You left.
I left for the day, but I stayed in the apartment. I asked him to leave.
And did he leave?
He left after a few days.
And that was in December.
That's correct.
When did Samantha come to live with you, sir?
In April of 2003.
And where were you living at the time?
I just got an apartment, and I had an extra bedroom, so I figured, you know.
How did Samantha know that you had an extra bedroom?
Well, we stayed in contact. Kathleen and I weren't talking at the time, so I used Samantha as a mediator to, you know, see my children and to make sure that they were doing okay.
You said you saw your children regularly, so what do you mean you needed a mediator?
Well, at first, the visitation wasn't every weekend like it is now. Like I said, Kathleen and I weren't on speaking terms at that time.
You weren't on speaking terms because she believed that you were having intimate relations with a 16-year-old sister. That a fair statement?
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. William Joe Schwartfager says his ex-girlfriend's father, Warren Day, owes for attorney fees and harassment. Warren says after William broke up with Kathleen, he had an affair with her 16-year-old sister.
Now tell me what Mr. Day did with regard to his 16-year-old daughter moving in with you.
Nothing at first. Samantha and Mr. Day weren't on speaking terms when it first happened.
She was living with her mother.
That's right, and she was having problems with her mother. She was, you know, living in and out of her friend's house, you know, running away from her house, not going to school, stuff like that.
Between December and April, did you see Samantha?
We met up a couple times.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
How many times would you estimate you saw Samantha?
About once a week, maybe.
Could it have been twice a week?
It wasn't like everyday basis that she was over at where I was at, but...
I didn't say every day, William. You said once a week. And what I said to you is, could it have been twice a week?
Yeah, it might have been a couple weeks that she came over more than once, yes.
And when she would come over, would she stay for an hour or two?
She'd stay for a couple hours.
And what would you do when she came over?
We'd hang out with the kids, talk about when the next time I get to see them, you know, where we were going to meet to get the kids and everything else, so...
When did Mr. Day file the first of his protective orders?
In July.
You have a copy of it?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
This paper is also the ruling after the case.
Just a second. So he filed a protective order indicating that in July you hit Samantha in the mouth.
That's right.
July 2003, Samantha. Were you living with William at the time?
Yes.
Did he hit you in the mouth?
Yes.
Under what circumstances?
I came home and him and his friends had been drinking and we got into an argument. At that time, we went into the bedroom. He took me into the bedroom. His friends stayed in the other room and one thing led to another. He actually picked me up, threw me into the table, and that's how I busted my lip open.
So he didn't hit you in the mouth, he picked you up and threw you into a table, which caused you to hurt your lip. And what did you do in July when he did that to you?
Well, we kept fighting. He actually left. I called my friends to come get me because he took my keys and threw them in the dumpster. And he came back and he was being very rude to my friends, and then I left. And then 2 days later, I think, is when they actually filed the protection order.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living with Joe, but I was staying with my friend Stephanie after we got in an argument.
So you were living with him?
Yes.
What kind of an apartment did he have?
It was a 2-bedroom apartment.
Who else lived there?
Just me and him.
Did you have your own bedroom?
No.
Did you share the bedroom with him?
Yes.
For how long?
Ever since we moved in. We actually got the apartment together. He didn't have it when we're together.
You went to court in August of 2003. Do you remember going to court in August of 2003? Yes. Did the judge ask you any questions?
Yes.
Why did you lie to the judge?
Because I thought that I was in love and I was scared. He told me what to say and I said what he said to say.
Had you gone back to him at the time?
We were on a restraining order, so we couldn't see each other, but yeah, we were still together.
Were you speaking to him?
Not during the protection order.
Did you tell your father that you were going to not tell the truth when the judge asked you questions?
Yes.
What did he say?
Not much. He told me I better tell the truth.
Is that right, sir?
That is correct, ma'am.
When your 16-year-old daughter got to court, you didn't tell the truth. Is that right?
That's correct.
And this, William, is what you're really suing over, this case that was dismissed.
Yeah, that's part of the lawsuit, yes.
Tell me what the other part is.
In February, he filed another protective order against me. Samantha had moved out, in late October, and I didn't understand why it was...
So she came back to you after this original protective order, and she moved out again in late October?
That's right. She moved back into my house probably about a month after the case, and then she quit her job, stopped going to school, and those were, I told her if she was going to live with me, she had to keep her job, go to school, and then later on my car got vandalized.
Who do you think vandalized your car, sir?
Samantha. We do have audio tapes that were gone over by the county attorney.
Don't tell me what audio tapes were gone over by anybody else, sir. That's hearsay.
Okay.
Do you have any witness to Samantha vandalizing your car?
Samantha's older sister, Kathleen, she was the one that actually told me that it was Samantha that vandalized my car.
No.
What did you say to him?
I said it wasn't my brother, and it wasn't my sister.
Well, I don't know.
There's a lot of people that hate you, so.
Yeah. I can think of 3 right there. Maybe 4. William, I am going to tell you a word that you probably don't know. Interestingly enough, Officer Byrd knows this word, because when I say the word, he's going to understand, as will a lot of other people, because I'm going to explain the word to you. The word, William, is chutzpah. Do you know what chutzpah means, Byrd?
Sure.
Chutzpah means nerve. You got a lot of nerve to put on a suit and tie, bring your girlfriend into a court to sue this man after you made 2 babies with one of his children irresponsibly. Now, you're only partially responsible for that, but you're half responsible for that. And then his daughter finds out that you're messing around with her 16-year-old sister, and she leaves you. Or you leave. She tells you to leave. And then you invite her 16-year-old sister to move into your house, the 2 sisters, like you live in Utah. And then you have the chutzpah to sue him as a parent for getting angry with you because his daughter tells him, not only am I sleeping with him, but he picked me up, he got angry when he was drinking, threw me against the table and split my lip. You have a daughter, sir?
Yes, I got 3 daughters.
All right. You have 2 daughters?
3.
3?
Yes.
Who's the 3rd?
My oldest daughter, she's 7, but she's not by the day.
And how old are you, 22?
That's right.
You better get a lock for it.
That's already been fixed, Alan.
William, I don't want to look at you for another second. Your case is dismissed. Mr. Day, have you gotten the satisfaction that you wanted?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't need a counterclaim, do you?
No, I don't really know.
Very good. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's been hard. It's been hard for me not to do something else besides go to court on it. It really has.
I was just trying to get the attorney bills that Mr. Day has racked up on my behalf, cleared up.
This man has been like a dingleberry on my butt.
It didn't destroy any credibility. It's another day.
He doesn't think about other people's feelings, how he hurt me, how he hurt her, and how he's probably going to hurt Sarah, too.
She was like a little sister to me the whole time.
You could talk the panties off a nun.
The girl that's with him right now, Sarah Buckley,
Is my best friend.
and used to live in my house as my 3rd, adopted daughter.
So he's on the 3rd one now.
Yeah.
We're actually a lot closer than we were, and we just really hate him now.
Everybody makes mistakes. Yeah, this is her freebie. If she does it again, then it's done.
And now the next case.
For a personal loan, car damages, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2056, Garrett versus Codio scenario.
Thank you. Miss Garrett, this gentleman, Michael Codia, is that
correct?
Codia?
Yes.
You and Mr. Codia have been lifelong friends, according to what I read in the complaint. Lifelong, you're both very young. How do you know him?
Well, we used to ride bikes together. His mom used to also braid my hair when I was a child every Sunday.
But you and Mr. Codia were never involved in any relationship other than just friendship?
No.
And Mr. Codia, Miss Serrano is currently your girlfriend.
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
She had been your girlfriend and been living with you for a while, and you have a child together.
Yes, correct. Well, she's currently pregnant. We're expecting, they're expecting.
Great. You had a fight with Miss Serrano. And that was around June of this year?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was a substantial enough fight that Miss Serrano left the home. And she left the home with your child. And how old is your child?
As I was saying, we are expecting.
So you don't have a child together?
She's 6 months pregnant, currently.
Okay. So you're just living, and she left?
Correct.
At about the same time, Miss Garrett, your friend, needed a place to stay.
I wouldn't say needed a place to stay, but...
What would you say?
It was more like, I kind of had a clue, like she had a place to stay, but it was just one of those situations.
No, look over here. Look over here. Okay.
Sorry.
Now, Mr. Codia, I want you to understand there are very few stories that are new under the sun. I want you to really understand that. I have children. I have grown grandchildren, boys and girls. I've seen all the movies that I want to see about romance and guys. So your girlfriend leaves you.
Yeah.
Yes. And would it be fair to say that you invite Miss Garrett?
Not in the current apartment that I'm staying in right now, no.
Had you in another apartment?
No.
So the answer is you had never invited your friend to come and stay with you before?
No.
Interesting. So on June 27th, she left. On what date did you invite Miss Garrett to come and stay in your apartment?
June 16th.
June 16th?
Yes.
So 11 days before Miss Serrano left?
Miss Serrano left about a week prior to her coming.
What date did you leave, Miss Serrano? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I recall it was the end of, or mid-June of this year, I would say. I had personal things going on, so I really wasn't, Now,
Miss Serrano, I'm going to ask you why you left.
We had a falling out. Me and Michael had a falling out.
Yes. What did you and Michael have a falling out about?
Well, at the time, my mother was in the hospital, so that it was a disagreement surrounding having to move back home and take care of her in the household.
And
that was pretty much it.
Well, what did he say? He said he didn't want you to, and you...
Yeah, he pretty much, long story short, didn't want me to move back to my mother's house, so that caused,
Okay, so he wanted you to stay?
Yes. Yes, he wanted me to stay, but, He
wanted you to stay. Now, did you know that the two of you were expecting at that time in June?
Yes.
So he knew that you were expecting a baby, that you wanted to go back to your mother's house because she was ill and you wanted to help take care of her. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And despite the fact that he said, don't go, you left?
Yes, ma'am.
And you went home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it would be fair to say that he was annoyed?
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting this whole picture now. It's so easy. Okay. And about a week later, he invites this attractive young lady who's been a friend of his for a long time, a non-romantic friend. You know that was nasty.
That was an agreement between them.
No. But you know that was a sort of a nasty thing to do.
Oh, no, I'm fully aware.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want you to know what you're sort of dealing with.
Yes, I'm fully aware of what I'm dealing with. Thank you, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so, Mr. Codia, I wanted to sort of get even a little bit. You invite Miss Garrett to come and move in. No rent or anything, because you didn't have an agreement to pay rent. You weren't going to pay rent or anything, and you moved in. And you moved in on?
I moved in on the 1st.
On the 1st of?
July.
July 1st. Now, Miss Serrano, I'm going to come back to you because this is such a fascinating story.
Oh, Lord.
Such a fascinating story. And he deserves to get dumped on a little bit.
Oh, there's more where that came from, yes. I said that's more where that came from, yes.
Okay. And between the time you left and July 1st, when Miss Garrett was invited to come to stay at the house, were you in communication with Mr. Codia?
Yes. I would say like every day or every other day we spoke, arguments, you know how it is.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're pregnant and you have emotions, and then you're taking care of family members and whatever. And so I got it. Did he tell you that Miss Garrett was moving in?
Yes.
When?
I would say I found out around like the 27th, 28th.
Of June?
Yes.
Tell me how you found out that she was moving in.
I believe at that point she was already moved in at that point.
Okay. And what made you think that?
Just based off of how the conversation went or how he told me.
Tell me what he told you.
What I was told was that a friend was moving in to solely cook and clean.
I'm sorry.
See what's happening, Tim? This fly is getting vengeance on it.
Not getting on the
What the hell's going on? Oh, you got a swapper too. Wow.
I'm waiting for it to come over here.
Yes.
Nishira Garrett claims her former friend Michael Kodia and his girlfriend Brianna Serrano owe for a personal loan and an assault.
Tell me what he told you. I'm curious. I want to know.
What I was told was that a friend was moving in to solely cook and clean. That's what I was told.
Okay, did he tell you who?
Who it was. I never met her.
But he told you who it was?
Yes, he told me who it was.
And that made you, I would probably guess, a little annoyed and unhappy.
I mean, I was annoyed.
I would be annoyed.
I mean, I was annoyed because I had personal things going on, but in between that time before actually realizing that she was living at my apartment, I actually had a brief interaction with her. I met her at a park. I met her. So...
Between the time you moved out?
Yes.
Okay. Was it you met because you contacted each other, or you met by accident?
We met because me and Michael just, had a conversation to have had at that point in time. I'm assuming she was there in the area, so he just wanted to kill two birds with one stone. He said, do you want to meet the person, who's there, who I'm living with, and that's how it went.
And was it a cordial meeting?
Yes, it was.
You met her, she met you?
Yes.
And he said, I just want you to meet the lovely-looking girl that I'm now living with because you went home to take care of your mother.
I guess so, if you wouldn't have put it...
Yes, he...
Don't forget.
This is what your case is about. First, you claim that you loaned Mr. Kodia $750 for rent.
Yes.
And you did that because he said once Miss Serrano moved out, she wasn't paying her rent. He was short on rent. That's what I read here. Mr. Kodia has a whole different story. He said while he told you that he was a little short on rent and he was going to have to get a third job.
That's not true.
Just a second. Now, Mr. Kodia, did you tell Miss Serrano that somebody was moving into the apartment just to cook and clean? That's what she says.
Yes, that's exactly my words. Exactly my words, yeah.
That's exactly what you told her.
Correct.
You didn't tell Miss Serrano, the soon-to-be mother of your child, that you had a roommate who was paying rent.
I did not.
Miss Serrano, what kind of work were you doing when you were living together in June?
I had a work-from-home position, will still currently do as a Medicaid specialist.
Were you sharing rent with him?
Yes. Everything was 50-50.
Did you pay him any rent in July?
No, I did not.
Did you pay him rent in June?
Yes.
So you paid him the $750. That was your share of the rent? Is that what your share was?
That was my share of the rent. June was already paid for. July I did not pay because I did not believe I was going to be there.
Okay. Tell me what he said to you that caused you to give him this $750.
Well, he texted me one morning and said that Brianna was no longer going to pay her half of the rent as of July, and that if he could...
You were living there already?
Yes. And if I give him $750, he would give it back to me. And we never discussed anything about me cooking or cleaning. I actually brought groceries, which he said that he would pay me back for, too, while I'm staying there.
Okay. So you were actually there for 5 days, is that right?
About 5 days.
5, 6 days. And at some point around the first week in July, July 5th, 6th, or 7th, you came to the apartment.
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
We had went inside the apartment.
Who's we?
Michael and I, sorry. Michael
so
and
you
I
were so you weren't staying there. Where had you met him?
We actually met at work. We've been together for a year and a half.
I understand that. Yeah. But you came home to the apartment together, and that was, I think, on the 7th of July.
Yes.
On the 7th of July. Where had you been? You'd been out. You hadn't been staying in the apartment.
Oh, no, yeah. I was out actually just going to rosaries and stuff like that. I actually went to go pick him up after a family function from work. After picking him up from work, we went back to the apartment, went upstairs.
Was that the first
couple days? But I've been there, not living there, but I've been there spending the night, and
Have you ever, when you were there, have you seen Miss Garrett?
Nope, but I've seen her belongings, though.
Okay. But you knew she was there because he told you that she was there.
Exactly.
So on the 7th, you picked him up, you went back to the apartment, and you'd been there before, but you had never actually physically seen her in the apartment.
Correct.
Despite the fact that you knew she was there.
Correct.
Because you'd been introduced to her.
Correct.
Okay. And what happened?
So we went upstairs. She seen that I was with him, and I guess that must have made her mad.
No, just tell me what happened.
So there was an argument.
Tell me what the argument was.
I don't even know what the argument was, honestly. She just seen me, and then there was an argument that unfolded about what I still don't know still to this day.
Okay, so now Miss Garrett, they came home, and?
Okay, so them two never came in the apartment together at all that night and previously.
No, just tell me that night.
Oh, that night. So me and Michael discussed that, hey, listen, things are not working out. He has had multiple people in and out his house, and he was making me very uncomfortable, as well as Miss Serrano popping up.
So what do you say? You said multiple people in the house?
Guys, women every night. I would sleep in the park. One night I slept in the park because he had Miss Serrano popping up at 3 o'clock in the morning, her throwing my things around, telling me to get out the house. So I had to go in my car and go sleep in the park. And we had conversations that night when it happened, when she popped up. Hey, can I go?
What date was that?
It was, I want to say July the 2nd or the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before the 7th.
Right.
Okay. And that's when you went out and slept in the park?
Yes.
Just a second. Mr. Cody, you remember that evening?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And that evening on what you anticipated?
Of course.
When you invited her to stay with you?
Sadly.
Absolutely right. Going to have two women fight over the prize, the grand prize. Okay. Did you take $750 from her?
No, I did not.
Did you? I didn't ask you with a loan.
Yes,
I didn't ask you. She has proof that she gave it to you.
Yes, she
Okay, so let's not play. Did you take $750 from her?
I did.
So it goes back to her. That's $750. Now we're going to get to what she alleges is the remainder of her lawsuit, which is damages for assault. Okay. On the 7th of July, there was some sort of an altercation. You want to tell me what that was?
Yes.
You did something that annoyed him. You went back to take care of your sick mother, which also attests to his bad character. And then what he does is he invites someone, a woman, to come into the house because he knows that it's going to irritate you. That's exactly what happened. He acknowledges that.
Nashera Garrett has accused her former friend, Michael Codia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, of damaging her car and assaulting her.
Now, on the 7th of July, there was some sort of an altercation. You want to tell me what that was?
Yes. So that evening, I went into the house, and he had his witness, Darius, there. And
this person?
Yes. And me and Michael had conversations about him before, and I just thought it wasn't a good influence. So that evening, I walk in the house, and I'm sorry, let me back that up. I asked Michael if he's gonna have men come in the house, could he please be there while I'm there with them? Because I didn't feel comfortable. He said yes. So when I walked in that evening and saw Darius there, I texted Michael and said, Michael, we need to have another talk, because every talk we have, I'm thinking that we're having understandings, but we're not. So, and Darius set up a whole twin-sized bed up in the living room. I'm in my car, so meet me in my car when you get off. It was around 8:30 when Michael had came, and I was sitting in my car. Me and Michael were talking, and...
Was he in your car with you?
No. He was outside of my driver's side. So that's when Miss Brianna came, and she started hitting him upside his head, and I tried to get out of the spot that I was in, and next thing I know, my window's down, and she comes and she's attacking me, punching me in my face. She keyed up my car. When she first came up to my window, she keyed my car. Yeah, I can show you.
What? Okay, did you file a police report?
I didn't.
Why?
I just didn't. I took care of my bruises and my scar. I did call 911, but then I hung up. I just didn't. And
Okay. Do you have photographs of your injury?
Yes. There you go.
So what you're telling me is that this was a scratch across your chest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a scratch that was caused by Miss Serrano.
Yes.
And that was in July.
Yes.
Ms. Serrano, I'd like to hear your version of what happened on the 7th of July.
Like I said before, there was just an argument that took place.
I want you to start. I want you to start the argument from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. She's outside in her car.
Mm-hmm.
Michael is talking to her at the car.
Oh, yeah.
Did you drive over there or did you walk? How did you get there?
I parked my car like in front of the house because they were on the side street. So I walked.
So you walked there?
Exactly.
You parked the car. Now let me ask you a couple of questions, Ms. Serrano. Yeah. Did Mr. Codia ever try to recall?
I was told after that whole day went, the day after that, the conversation was going to be for her to leave the house.
Okay. And what were you coming over for? What brought you over there at 8 o'clock at night?
For him.
What do you mean for him?
Well, he left something in my car. He left a charger or something. It was something he left in my car that I was returning back to him.
Did you tell him you were coming over?
Nope. I just popped up.
The answer is no.
No.
You were curious.
Yes, I was. Of course I was.
There you are.
I'm
sorry. See what's happening to him? This fly is getting vengeance on him.
Not getting on me.
What the hell's going on? Oh, you got a swapper too, wow.
I'm waiting for it to come over here. Did you seek medical treatment?
I did not.
Mr. Cody, I'm going to wrap up this case because I really understand it. I believe I understand it. What I don't understand is why, and this doesn't require an answer, it's sort of a rhetorical question, why you would want to take someone who had been a lifelong friend and someone with whom you are having a child and put either one or both of them in a situation, they don't know each other really, so they don't know whether to like each other or whether not to like each other. I mean, I assume that at this point you would, at least Miss Serrano was planning a long-term relationship with you, and she's having a child, and I assume she thinks you're going to be there to be supportive of the child. Maybe. You have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
I have another son.
Okay, how old?
5 years old, 5.
And he lives with his mother?
Yes, he does.
So you see.
Oh, yes. There you go.
This one's a pesky one. I'm usually good at it. I missed it before. I don't know why you would put them in a situation where they would dislike each other all to satisfy your ego.
Wow.
Oh, that's exactly what you did. You put them in a position where two apparently nice ladies, you think she cares about him?
I've never, the entire time I was with
him. They just know each other for a long time.
It was way before me, so I guess if you would have put it like that.
And they also went to senior prom together.
Just a second.
Wow, like
I didn't ask you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I didn't ask you anything. This is not a shout out. What I'm telling you is it goes to his character. He knows her for a long time. They never had a romantic relationship. With you, he's had a romantic relationship. You did something that annoyed him. You went back to take care of your sick mother, which also attests to his bad character. And then what he does is he invites a woman to come into the house, lets you know about it, because he knows that it's going to irritate you. That's exactly what happened. He acknowledges that. That doesn't make him a good guy. So I want you to think about that. But I absolutely believe that you caused a scratch on her, which you can't do. Anyway, Mr. Cody, you owe her $750. And Ms. Serrano, you can't put your hands on anybody, no matter how angry you are at them. And I'm awarding her $1,000 for you putting your hands on her. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I was very satisfied.
I mean, I know it will cause havoc, but
different women every night.
I try to keep it in secret.
And that's why we stopped being friends before, but I definitely learned my lesson.
I feel like it's unfortunate. I feel like she manipulated the whole situation.
The friendship is over.
I'm just gonna be a father to my child, man.
After working with you now for almost a year, I'm starting to get so jaded from these cases that I'm starting to think that just staying single might be my best option if these are the alternatives. Yeah. Just blows my mind. He admitted to just pitting an old friend and your fiance, who's pregnant with your child, against each other.
To satisfy your ego.
Yes. Sounds like a terrible idea, was a terrible idea, turned out to be a terrible idea, and it'll land you in court on occasion.
You're right, but rethink.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2013, Davis versus Long.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Davis, what do you do for a living?
I'm a language interpreter.
For whom?
For hospitals or law offices.
Is it your own business?
Yes.
What languages do you speak?
Spanish and Portuguese.
Tell me how you met Mr. Long, who was a photographer.
I met Mr. Long as part of a social cycling group that I'm a part of. And so they have weekly cycling rides, and he's always there, and I'm usually there too.
So according to what I read in your complaint, you got to chatting with Mr. Long, and sometime in October of 2021, so not quite a year ago, the two of you discussed him taking photographs of you to be used on his website, on his business website. That's a photography website, sir?
Yeah, but we didn't discuss, we just discussed doing a photo shoot together. Yeah.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Don't say no unless,
Yeah, I mean.
I already live with people who say no just to say no. You discussed taking photographs of her for your website, doing a photo shoot, and in exchange for that, she would get a free copy of the photographs. That's what you discussed.
Yes.
That a fair statement?
Yes.
Is that a fair statement?
Of some of the photos, yes.
I don't think that you said some of the photos. You said, you sit for a photo shoot for me, that I can use the pictures on my website.
That's not what.
Well, are you in the business of photography?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that how you make your living?
Yes, ma'am.
People paying you to take pictures of their wedding, communion, bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Right? Anything else? Birthday parties. And in order to do that, you have to show off your best work.
Yes.
And if you ask a model to do that, so that you could use a model, just as you get paid for your work, so would the model.
Right.
So what you did with her was barter. You bartered her time in sitting for a shoot for her to get something in return, which were copies of the photographs. That doesn't mean that she owns them. You were free to use them on your webpage, on your business webpage. Am I outlining your case?
Yes, more or less.
Okay, so now I will summarize what the case is about. According to what I've read, the two of you looked at the photographs and you picked out about 30 that you liked, according to somebody, posted on his website that he hadn't given you.
Well, he hadn't given me any of the pictures. I was able to view some.
With 30 photographs downloaded so that you could see them on your computer?
No, he sent me a Google Drive link for 29 photos.
Okay.
That I couldn't download. I could only view.
Okay. Did you tell him that you couldn't download them?
Yes.
Did he repair that?
No.
So now you want to be compensated to the tune of $2,500 for using your pictures on social media. That's what you asked for in your case.
Yes, for using them to promote his business.
That's okay. Well, you knew he was going.
I did.
Okay, Ms. Davis, you knew that he was going to use the photographs to promote his business. That was your contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that's a yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That was your contract. Your complaint is that he did not fulfill his entire end of the bargain by getting you copies of all the pictures.
Yes.
Okay. And you have a nonsense counterclaim, Mr. Long, because you want money for compensation for a photo shoot. That was never...
No. Well, what I want money for is a nonsense counterclaim for a nonsense suit.
No.
What I want money for is if she wants me, because she actually, I want you to take down every photo and delete everything you have. Well, if you want to, that means if you want to own the rights to the photos, this is what it's going to cost you.
You've not, just a second. She doesn't want all the rights to the photos. She can't.
That's what she called me saying.
Okay. But she can't modify the agreement.
Agree.
If I find, which seems absolutely logical, and I don't know why you just wouldn't do it, give her the photographs, which you bargained for, so that she got copies of them in exchange for you using them on social media. That seems to be perfectly simple, Mr. Long. Did she ever notify you that she couldn't download the 29?
You know when she notified me? So in May of this year, which is Women's History Month, I was daily, I post some photos of women that I took photos of and just kind of like honor them for Women's History Month. So on like May 5th, with 5th day of women, honor, a friend of mine, it's Women's History Month, just kind of I thought it was a nice thing. So then, she calls me. I was picking my daughter from school. Well, she emailed me. I don't know if she emailed me.
Does this have something really important to do with this case?
Yes.
Well, get there, please.
Yes,
I'm not interested in picking your daughter up from school.
But you asked me when did she notify me. So 5 months later, she notified me in May. The photo shoot was in November.
So
but you asked me when did she notify me? She told me this right as all of this actually wanted to start an argument.
Mr. Long,
yes,
you
ma'am.
can talk from today till tomorrow.
I know. I'm long-winded.
What the agreement
yes, ma'am.
is clear. She sat for you. How long was the photo shoot? Don't look at me. How long was the photo shoot?
Almost 5 hours.
How long was the photo shoot, Mr. Long?
No, it's about about 3 hours. About 3 hours.
Okay, so anywhere between 3 and 5 hours.
Ma'am.
Anywhere between 3 and 5 hours.
Well, it definitely wasn't 5.
She said
it was wintertime, so it got dark early. We were outside at Cascade Nature Preserve. So
I'm getting so bored.
I know,
with
I'm
you.
sorry. But yeah.
Anywhere between 3 and 5 hours. And if you shot 100 pictures during that time?
Oh, no, much more. So
how many pictures did you shoot?
Probably 300-400. I mean, it was a lot.
Not so.
No, yeah, well, because this is important. You know, so what happened is that we did a lot of motion shots. So which means that I put the camera in high continuous shutter mode. So while she's moving, I'm capturing I'm just taking photos, right? And then we choosing out of which motion that looked best. You know.
No, just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to send her the copies of the photographs that you took.
That was an agreement, Your Honor. Because why would I send you every photo and I'm going to have work out there with my name on it, that something, because you blinked or we moving. We're taking action shots.
Just a second. Do you think, hey.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that this woman is going to put out a photograph anywhere that looks terrible of her?
Yeah, see,
that would be
right.
That would be ridiculous.
See, we have a difference in opinion, right? She may think this is a nice one, and as a photographer, I'm like, and another photographer sees it, they're like, this is kind of garbage, right? And so I'm never going to give somebody something that I wouldn't approve of myself.
Oh yes. Ever. Well, 30 seconds. You were commiserating with each other from this cycle group, whatever it was, and I want you to tell me your memory of the discussion with the plaintiff about the photographs, about her sitting for you for a photo shoot. Then I'm going to hear hers. Quickly, what is your memory of the initial discussion that you had with her over her sitting for a photo shoot? Don't make things up, Mr. Long. Then just tell me.
This is factual.
Then just tell me.
Yes. So we were at a social gathering. It was a holiday party for one of the groups that we are part of, right? So we were at this bar called Handlebar in Atlanta, and we were talking, and I was doing some shooting inside of the party, right? And she says, hey, we got to shoot together sometime.
That's not true.
Just a second.
Yes,
you're going to have a chance. Don't interrupt him. Just keep going. And you understand, I know the difference between rain and someone peeing on my leg.
Right.
I just know the difference.
I've never peed.
Okay. Let's move on.
Right. And so we were at this.
So you were at a party. Hey, you're taking pictures. And she said to you, hey, come on, let's go.
Yes. Hey, we should do a shoot together sometime.
Okay.
And I was like, that would be cool.
Okay.
Right. And then so she reached out to me. So the Braves won the World Series last year. She reached out to me a little before the Braves won the World Series and said, hey, would this day be good? And I was like, well, it's going to be kind of cold. This is going to be going on. So the day that the World Series parade was, which was November 3rd. Right, November 3rd is the day that we shot because after the Braves, I went and met her.
Just a second. Do you have any idea how disinterested I am in these facts?
I know, but
okay, Mr. Long, before she got there, you had an arrangement, and if you can't tell it to me in a cogent way, I'm going to ask her, and I'm going to believe her. Do you understand?
I do.
Princess Davis claims photographer Tavares Long broke their photo shoot agreement. Tavares is countersuing, saying Princess owes him for the rights to the pictures.
Okay, you're at a bar, you're taking some pictures.
Yes.
You're taking some pictures. She comes over to you. She said, how about a photo shoot? You say, fine.
Yes.
I'm looking for your version of the finals. It means nothing to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Just tell me the contract that you had with her. There had to be a contract.
Well, other than us verbally, there was no written contract.
That doesn't have to be a written contract.
So you want just what we verbally said? Yes. So then after that, we agreed to meet up, right? And then once we finished shooting, because we never discussed how many photos were going to be sent, right? Until we actually looked at the photos together, Your Honor. We looked at the photos. She said, oh, no, I don't like this one because there's something.
Just a second. You looked at the photos on the date of the shoot?
No. Well, she looked at some of them on the camera, but not every photo that on the camera. But
when did you look?
Oh, I sent it to her on November 6th. I emailed her. So November 3rd is when we shot. November 6th is when I sent her the photos.
How many did you send her?
29.
Okay, but you didn't send her all of them.
No, because that wasn't an agreement.
Well, I didn't hear the agreement. I didn't hear anything about an agreement.
We didn't have a specific number.
I didn't hear anything about an agreement.
That wasn't
okay. Good. Now you have to be quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
Now tell me your version. Make sure that I get exactly the case.
Okay. On October 15th, we were both at a holiday event from one of our social groups, and he actually came up to me. And he was like, "You're beautiful. I would love to shoot you. I'm trying to build up my photography practice." And I was like, "Okay, what do you want to do? Like a, barter thing where I get a copy of all the pictures and you can use them to promote." And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "We can talk about it this week."
Oh, so what he said to was, "Yeah, we can talk about it this week."
Mm-hmm. No, and we had another phone call.
Keep going.
To solidify that I would get a copy.
No. Don't say solidify. Solidify is a conclusion.
Okay.
What I want you to tell me is after that meeting, you had another conversation.
Yes.
Did you call him or did he call you?
I called him.
Yes.
And I said, "Okay, so I know you had talked about the shoot. Like, what were you interested in doing? I know you talked about the barter." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm building up my practice. I would love to shoot you." And I asked him, I said, "Okay, so I'm going to get a copy of all the pictures, right?" "Yeah, you'll get a copy of all the pictures." God. I asked him then, I said, "Do you have a makeup artist?" Because I've done this agreement before with other photographers.
I would like you to be quiet. Hey,
okay.
I would like you to be quiet.
I will.
This is a pretty standard agreement with
No.
the model. Okay, I'll go back to it.
I'm not interested in that or the Atlanta Braves.
Yes. So basically what it was is I would get a copy of all the pictures.
Anything else?
I said,
so now you're shocked.
And I will get a copy of all the pictures that he said yes.
Keep saying it again. I heard you the first time that you would sit and you would get a copy of the pictures. Yes. And he said, yeah.
Yes.
As I can imagine him saying to you.
Yeah, but
okay.
I didn't.
You get an A for annoying. Which is not where you want to be here.
It's not.
Because this is really a very, very simple situation.
Yes.
Really simple. Of the pictures that you took of her, be very careful because she has it. Of the pictures, the 29 pictures that you sent to her, did those 29 pictures contain all of the pictures that you ever put up on your website? Or did you use any of the other pictures that you took from the photo shoot on your website? Do you understand my question, Mr. Long?
I do.
Did you use any photos other than the 29? That's either a yes or a no.
She told me yes, there's one.
Just a second, she told me.
That's what she told me. Well,
Mr. Long,
yeah.
Not she told me. When you had a conversation with us subsequently and she said to you, "I saw you put a picture up on your website. It wasn't one of the ones you sent to me." A normal person who is a photographer, who is now having a dispute, would go back to the photographs and see which picture she was talking about and look to see the 29 pictures that you sent. And you would have said, yes, it was one of the 29 pictures that I sent to you. My question is a simple one. Were any pictures that were not turned over to her ever used on your website?
So I want to be honest with you, right? So
that's either a yes or a no.
Right. Well, this is the thing. So
no, there's no thing.
Conversation that she's talking about
Mr. Long, there's no thing.
Yeah.
There's no thing to my question.
All right.
There's either a yes or a no. Were any photographs other than the 29 you sent her ever put up on your website?
Not to my recollection, because...
Okay, just a sec. So the answer is not to your recollection. Now I'll come back to you, Miss Davis. You did receive viewing copies of 29 photographs. According to you, you saw a picture on his website that was not a picture that you had a viewing copy of.
Yes.
Do you have that?
Yes. Give me 1 second. Where is mine?
And then the communication with him, if you have any communication about that photograph. Is this all clear to you, Whitney, this case? Is this clear to you? Is there anything that needs clearing up?
Okay, that is pretty clear. Message. This one was the specific one that I didn't recognize. I had seen.
No, I don't want to know that you recognize it. I want a picture that was not within the 29 photographs that he sent to you, and then any communication with him that you have via text message
That's the text message.
That's a lovely photograph.
Thank you.
Yeah, she got it for free.
Text messages. You can also. Oh.
Happy Monday sent you all the photos you liked back when we took them. Okay. So what she's saying to you here is that she feels very uncomfortable about you having pictures of her that she doesn't have copies of and having them accessible to you to post. I just want to finish this back and forth.
Yes, ma'am.
She does say, if you don't want to send her all the pictures, just delete them all from whatever hard drive you have and take her pictures down from any social media. Did you do either one of those things? That's what this back and forth seems to talk about.
I didn't, and I was never going to do it. Because
just a second. I didn't ask you if the answer is no.
Okay, no.
Where are the photographs now, Mr. Long?
The photographs, I use, scan disc, so they're on the SD card.
So very easy to make another one and just give her a copy, is that right?
No.
What, it's hard? Is that hard, Sarah, to make a copy of that memory chip? What do you have to do?
I don't think so.
I mean, I've seen people do that before. They plug something in, they plug something in at the other end, and then one transfers to the other. Am I wrong?
It's not hard, no.
What?
It's not.
I think he's saying it's not impossible. He's just not going
nothing's
to do
impossible. But one, I don't send all photos to anyone. I've never sent every photo that I've taken of someone. I've never done it.
Then, Mr. Long, I don't care what you've never done.
Right.
Then, shh. Mm-hmm. Why don't you try listening? Well, the one that tends to benefit the most from the contract, business-wise, is you. You see, these photographs are not her business.
Do you want to use these photos for her business?
Do you see my mouth moving?
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you be quiet and just listen?
Brushes, a dozen colors or so, and I'll show you how easy it is to create some of the most fantastic paintings you've ever seen. Let's go on up to the canvas here and get started.
Princess Davis has accused photographer Tavares Long of withholding photos from their photo shoot. Tavares says he can keep the photos he chooses because he owns them.
Okay, if there is ambiguity in an oral contract, two things should happen. First of all, the one that tends to benefit the most from the contract, business-wise, is you. That's not her business. You see, these photographs are not her business. She does...
You want to use these photos for her business?
Do you see my mouth moving?
Yes, ma'am.
She works as an interpreter. So she doesn't need for her job as an interpreter photographs like this. They're nice to have to look through a book, nice to have professional photographs taken. I know Sarah loves to do that.
All right.
But this is your business.
It is.
And if you put up, why don't you be quiet and just listen? If you put her picture up on your website, you're the professional at photography, so that you have to create a contract. You, not her. This is a sport for her. This is social.
She said she models and she wants something for her portfolio.
She may want something, which is why she sat for you. She doesn't have the photograph, so you have two choices. Mm-hmm. Either you give her a copy of that drive that you have. You still own the pictures. Anytime that she wants to use the pictures, you have to get credit for the pictures.
I'm never going to give somebody every photo because I don't want any work out there that is not standard for my business to be out there and somebody post it. We took action shots. I'm not giving you shots and you blinking.
Mr. Long, you came here and signed a document before you came into court. Yeah. That's what it said.
Okay.
So where do you come from? What city and state?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. And how did you get here?
Flew.
Yeah. And who paid for that?
I'm assuming you did.
Right. And when you got here, you stayed in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume you want to go home to Atlanta.
I do.
Eventually.
Hold on, you go.
No, I assume. And when you came here, sir, you also got a fee, an appearance fee. Is that correct?
Correct.
And how much did you get as an appearance fee for trying your case before me?
I can disclose that.
What, disclose it? I'm asking you a question. You're under oath.
I thought you wasn't supposed
to.
No,
listen to me. Don't look at her.
Okay.
Listen to me.
All right.
How much of an appearance fee are you being paid to have your case tried before me?
$300.
$300. And you'd like that $300?
I mean, yeah.
What?
Yes, I would. Man.
So this is what I'm telling you. I'm holding your $300 until she gets a copy of the hard drive with the photographs on it.
Okay.
So if you don't give it to her, it's going to cost you at least $300. You're just lucky I'm not taking your airline ticket as well.
Yes, sir.
When a contract that is verbal is interpreted, because there may or may not be a meeting of the minds in a verbal contract, but it seems to me that you were, and you're the business professional, so you're loosey-goosey. Use it for me, and I want to use it for my website. Can I get copies of the photos? Yes, I can get copies. Yeah, you can get copies of the photo. Then you sent her copies of the photos, and then you took down the site. It's not my fault that you didn't do anything. So this is my judgment. She gets copies of the photo shoot that was conducted in November of 2021. She gets copies of those photographs. Anytime she wants to use any of those photographs for anything, any publicity, it has to have your name on it. So send it to her, who the photographer was, and you have to get credit for it. You own the photographs. They are your photographs, but she gets copies of them because I cannot ascertain, other than listening to you, I can actually hear you saying, sure, you're going to get copies, and then you selected the ones that you wanted to select. Anyway, that's my judgment. You get copies, your counterclaims dismissed. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I don't agree with it.
I'm glad that it's over.
No photographer is ever going to send somebody 100% of any photo that they took.
Photos from somebody that was doing them a favor.
It just changed who I do business with.
I mean, it's just like the judge said, why would I put a bad photo of myself in public?
What they may believe is good may not be what I believe is good.
It makes no sense. He's just a total liar.
I thought I was doing something for a friend and for free.
We weren't really friends. We were like social. Like, he's inflating that.
Now that don't matter if it's free or not, I do put it in writing.
Just go to a different photographer. Don't you waste your time.
I think we have a difference of opinion on that one.
Okay.
My roommate from college is a professional photographer who has done sort of a similar arrangement with me, and I've learned a lot from her about the ins and outs of the photography business. And I know that a big problem for photographers is they don't want the raw, unedited, like the defendant was explaining, photos of out of, say, 400 or 500 out in the world if they haven't put their photographer edit or touch on it yet, which I can understand if that's their business. So if I were ruling, I would have maybe, it's hard to split the baby in half per se, but said 50 photos out of, she only received the 29. So maybe if he had edited up to his standards, 50 of the photos and delivered her downloadable versions, but I understand that's sort of rewriting history from a loosey-goosey type.
Well, it's rewriting
arrangement.
a contract. It is, and I actually see your point, but that would have required a lot of work for him.
Yeah, but he is the businessman. He should have had the contract to begin with.
Well,
and if
that's
you're
true.
going to be making statements to someone that you're going to give them all the photos, even though that's against what I know to be standard practice, then you're sort of out of luck. Then you're going to have unedited photos with your name attached to them. And as a photographer, you should really have more contracts in place for situations like this.
With a clear understanding by both parties. Yeah, that's his business, and he really wanted to use them for business.
Mm-hmm.
So he should have had a more stable written contract that I could interpret. Other than that, I was really comfortable with an all or nothing.
Yeah.
Either if you're going to use them and you've already used them on the website, a reasonable view of both their testimonies was he said, oh, yeah, you'll get copies,
Mm-hmm.
and then later gave her just a select few. But I actually understand now the standard and practice, and I could have offered that as an alternative.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một cô nàng mặc một chiếc váy dạ hội rất là đẹp nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Lấy màu xanh này để tô váy. Mình sẽ tô tóc màu nâu. Cái quần áo bóng à? Cất quần áo. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một cô nàng rất là xinh đẹp nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Tô tóc màu đen. Chờ chị một tí, từ từ. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một cô gái đang ôm một chú cún nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô tóc màu đen. Màu hồng cho nơ của chú cún nhé. Áo bạn nữ màu xanh nước biển đậm. Chờ chị tí. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một cô gái mặc một bộ váy dạ hội nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô tóc màu nâu. son và cái hai này nhé. Cành xe tô màu xanh. Gì? Kẹo lúc nãy tôi ăn hết rồi còn đâu. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một chú chó nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô màu xanh và chiếc nơ trên cổ của chú chó nhé. Chờ chị một tí. Đâu chú chó là sẽ tông màu sáng. Ơi bóc gì? Tôi có ăn không? Có ăn không để bóc? Ăn hết nha. Rồi từ bỏ ra chờ chị tí. Sao ạ? Nhà bác thì có ai không?
Đưa nó nghỉ chơi ngoan không?
Kẹo mì.
Kẹo chơi ngoan à? Đây. Các bạn không có cái lời của chị cả nhé.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh nàng công chúa Sophia nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình tô tóc công chúa màu nâu. Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một nàng công chúa của Disney nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Tô tóc vào nào.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh hai bông hoa hướng dương nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Sẽ tô màu vàng vào cánh hoa.
Ông làm cơm cho bọn. Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh ba chú chó nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Mình sẽ tô chú chó này màu xanh. Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một chú gà trống nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Mình sẽ tô màu đậm vào mà.
Sao rồi? Tin Messenger với cả Messenger khác nhau.
Không biết tao dùng gì bao giờ đâu.
Android và em dùng Android.
Lá màu xanh là cây.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh cô bé lọ lem nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Cái nơ mình sẽ tô màu hồng. Vâng. Đó, mua bố. Là gì? Mình sẽ lấy màu xanh nhất. Mình sẽ lấy màu vàng này tô vào tóc.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một bé gái đang cầm một bó hoa nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Mình sẽ lấy màu nâu tô vào tóc.
Hả? Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một bông hoa nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Chúng ta sẽ đồng sang là cái đi ạ.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một bé gái đang cầm một bó hoa nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Có tóc màu đen.
Dạo này lâu em mua cho củ hoa quả được một gói ăn ra để chú review nhá. Sọt phải nhỏ lại vặt quả ăn bỏ mẹ. Yếu.
Hoa mình sẽ tô màu đỏ này.
Hi, xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh ba bông hoa nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào.
Tô màu cam và nhụy hoa.